Welcome to Sweethearts or Rivals. I'm Charla.
I'm Justin.
What's on our table today?
Fabled Fruit.
Fabled Fruit plays 2 to 5 players. They recommend you can be playing it with people that are aged 8 and up.
Yep.
And it can take you about 25 minutes.
There you go.
The copy we have is published by Stronghold Games.
Right on. So, what do you think of the components of Fabled Fruit?
The components of Fabled Fruit are mainly cards. And
Yes.
there's a lot of cards.
And they're big cards.
And I'm not surprised that the cards that they chose were a little bit thinner than medium.
Yes.
And they're not linen.
Yeah.
Because the price of the game is quite high. So I can only imagine how high the price would have been if they had a higher quality card.
This is true.
And then they have wooden meeples for all your tokens, which is awesome.
Yep.
And all the cardboard cutouts are quite thick.
Yeah.
So they're going to last quite well for you.
Nice.
The only thing I will say is that when we got our copy, I was so sad because the elephant meeple's trunk was broken off.
That was a bummer.
But luckily we had some heavy-duty glue and we just glued it back on. But now he's got a damaged trunk for the rest of his life.
That's okay. Makes it unique.
I guess.
There you go.
What would you say about the strategery, which is a word we use for strategy, tactics, and luck?
It's very interesting. First of all, the very first game you play is going to be the exact same as every other very first game you play of this game.
Right.
Because it's always going to be the same 6 cards. But as soon as you're done with that first game, the next, who knows how many games, because there's a lot of cards, are going to be completely different. So there is a ton of replayability in this game because of that.
There is, yeah.
Like, more replayability than, like, a lot of, like, most other games, which is kind of crazy. And the way that your game evolves is going to make your strategies for every game different. And it's not even, like... At first I thought, because you follow the cards, like, number-wise, like, as soon as a card is gone from your first game, you put the first card number 7 out. So isn't that going to be the exact same? Well, no, because, I mean, we still have 2 number 1s.
Right, we have number 1 and then it jumps to 7.
Yeah.
So, I mean, had we bought all the number 1s first,
Yep.
like, it would be a much harder game because you'd never able to just go there and draw 2 fruits.
Yeah.
But here we are up to card 16 and we're still able to go to number 1.
Yeah. So that is like an incredible amount of, first of all, replayability, of course.
But the variables of combinations.
Yeah. It's one of those things where the rules of the game are very simple to learn, but the game is always going to be different because of the configuration of the cards, which makes for very tactical play. Yeah, very tactical play. And then as soon as someone buys one of the cards as a fruit juice towards winning the game, another card comes out, and if it's a new card that you've never played before, suddenly you have to stop and pause for a minute, read the card, make sure you understand it, and then suddenly you're thinking very tactically, how does that change the strategies of what's going on?
How all these cards are going to interact together.
Yeah. Which is very different. And all the cards have very different game mechanisms. Like there's one where it's a push your luck. You just start flipping cards and you can take them at any time, but the more you put out the better. But if you put out a second one that's the same as one that you've already put out, then you lose them all. Like just push your luck and take that aspects, all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
And the first 6 cards that you start with, you don't even have a market. So then once you get the market involved, then there's like other ways to get cards, to buy your smoothies.
Yeah. It's
always evolving.
It's crazy. So there's a little bit of randomness in, but it's not really random. It's more kind of player chaos and what cards are going to be bought first and disappear. There's a little bit of long-term strategy in terms of I can use these certain powers to mess with my opponent or get the cards I want, but the vast majority of the game is tactics. Constantly moving around. Because especially like if Charla goes exactly where I need to go, I don't want to give her a fruit in order to go there. So what do I do now? Oh, I got the cards I need to buy the card that I'm on. Well, I have to move, so that's 2 turns before I can buy that card.
Right.
Just a ton of tactics. What about the complexity of Fabled Fruit?
I think the level that we're at right now, it's pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Because there's nothing too complicated in the abilities of these cards. Now, I can't speak to the cards after number 16. But since they only come out one number at a time,
yep.
and you only have to adjust to like one new card when it comes out, I don't think it's going to be overly complex.
No.
And it's pretty, like you said, the mechanics are very straightforward.
Yep.
Because you're just collecting fruits in your hand so that you can buy these cards. And you have to collect the fruits in your hand depending on how you can manipulate these cards.
Yeah.
So it's just to figure out kind of the best little tactical paths you can take. But like I said, I don't think it's overly complex.
If it was kind of like, here's all the cards, and then you randomly put out like the cards that you start with each game.
Yes, that would change it a lot.
I think it would be more complex because you would have to stop and you'd have to look at all of the cards and start figuring it out. But because it follows a numbered progression, like I remember most of these cards from the last time we played, I might just have to pause for a minute to kind of refamiliarize with some of the newer ones. But then again, as you're playing, here's one new card. It's so easy to learn that way.
I guess if you play through the game a few times, you could like draw numbers out of a hat.
Yeah.
Like to see which order you wanted your cards to come out in.
True.
Maybe. But that would be like expert variant.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of not having too much chaos in the setup. Like I love that. I still know that next time I'm still going to have these cards that I played with last time.
Yes.
And just going to have to add one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I really like it.
Yeah.
I think the game would be fairly easy to teach as well. But the setup is quite unique. How they have it set up, it helps you determine how you're going to put it out each time.
Yeah. So the first game, you're just going to put the first 6 cards, all 4 copies, which is easy. But after that, you put all these cards here back onto your deck in order, and then the next time you want to set up, instead of trying to remember which cards you had, it's just the first 24 cards.
Right. And then these cards that you bought for juice or smoothies, they just go into their own separate bag and they're discarded from your game until you're finished to the end of your deck.
Yes. Which is awesome. And if you keep them in order, when you're done going through the whole deck, everything should just still be in order to just play the next game.
Right.
If you reach the end of all of the numbers, you could even just continue with 1 instead of starting the game over again, which would continue to evolve the game forever.
Right. It's endlessly playable.
That's crazy.
It's the game that never ends.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which, oddly enough, is quite short for the game that never ends.
And what do you think about the playability?
Well, I've already gone on and on and on about how it is endlessly replayable.
Right.
So that's cool. One of the things that makes that really awesome, though, because that endless replayability would be no good if it was no fun playing the game. But it's quite fun. The rules are very simple. It's very easy. You can learn it in like 5 minutes. But just the constant evolution of all the mechanisms from the cards makes it fresh every time, which is very cool and very fun to play.
I have to say something about the funness, though.
Ooh, okay.
Only because we've always been very close in the fruits, or juice, I mean. Like you finished with the 5.
Yeah.
I had 4. Like I was 1 behind you.
Yep.
And we're always very close like that. But say if I had a game where I was having a really hard time to like buy my juices and I had like 2 and you had 4.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be as fun if that always happened.
It's true.
But like I said, the games we've played have always been like, I'm always 1 juice short of winning.
Yeah. As for the mechanics versus the theme is cute, but really don't have anything to do with what we're doing.
No, but it's true. You could retheme it as anything.
Pretty much.
But I like that they're all animals in a jungle and they're all drinking their fruit smoothies together.
Yeah.
And the rhinoceros, his favorite is like 3 pineapples and any kind of fruit. Like, and this anteater here, like, I mean, he'd rather eat ants. So the smoothie that he eats, he doesn't care. It can be any 6 fruits together.
Exactly.
So I think that's really, like, I think they chose a really good theme for a game that you could put any theme on.
Yeah, exactly. So we haven't played it more than with just the 2 of us. Yeah. It works really well as a 2-player game.
It does.
A very good quick race. We haven't played with other players, but when you add more players, the number of fruit juices you need to get to goes down. So it's going to keep the length of the game roughly the same.
Right, and you wouldn't cycle through these cards too fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be that very quick, tense race, because that's what the game comes down to, is a race to who can get the fruits the first.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very cool. Does it have the awesomeness or the cuteness?
I have to say this game has equal awesomeness to cuteness, because the art, I find, is too quirky to be cute.
No, it's just cute.
No, it's not cute. I mean, it's almost cute, but it's just a little quirky. I think the reason that they didn't make it, like, off the charts cute is I think people might have dismissed it if it looked too cute.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Because if the art was cuter, you might think that it was more of a kid's game.
Possibly.
But where it's a little cute comical art, like, I think it makes it easier for people of our age to, like, want to take a closer look at it.
Possibly.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I like the artwork. I like the quirkiness of the artwork.
Yeah, it's quirkier than cute.
Yeah. But it's definitely not awesome.
The gameplay is very awesome.
The gameplay is awesome.
I'm saying, yeah, the gameplay is very awesome.
Yep.
And the art could have been cuter, but it's cool that it's quirky.
There you go.
That's the summary of my rambling.
That's funny. And are we going to trade it or keep it?
I'm keeping it.
Really? I was going to trade it.
No, you are not.
No, I'm not going to trade it. Honestly, I didn't even really want to get the game in the first place.
I know, but I wanted it for Christmas, so we got it.
That's right.
Well, I got to pick one.
Yeah.
This was the one I picked. He got to pick another one.
Yeah.
We don't have it yet.
It was kind of crazy. I was looking at it and it's like, it's a lot of cards for a lot of money.
Yeah.
In a game that we already have a game very similar, because it reminds me of Harbor.
I don't know why it reminds you of Harbor. It doesn't remind me of Harbor at all.
Because you're doing the same thing. You're jumping from place to place to get the resources to buy the cards.
Yeah.
But this does, like, other than that very, like, base similarity, what this does with it is so much more than Harbor. And that's what I enjoy about it. Mm-hmm. So, yes, it's a whole lot of cards for a lot of money for a really awesome game that I enjoy playing every single time.
Right.
And I'm very interested to see where the game is going to evolve next. Because there's this handy-dandy glossary of all the cards that I haven't read. Because I would much prefer to discover them as we play.
Be surprised.
Yeah. So that's cool. And there's a lot of cards.
There is. Like, I don't even know how they can have that many animals for the cards.
There is cards. We're on card number 16. And the cards go up to 59.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And everyone has a different mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. So yeah, we're definitely keeping it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I can't see us trading this anytime soon. Or ever. Cool. So, do we finish the game as Sweethearts or Rivals? We finish as
Rivals.
Rivals.
I thought you were going to say Sweethearts.
Nope.
Because you always have 5 juice and I always have 4 juice.
No, it's very rivalry. Like the aspects of the game aren't like super mean.
No, they're not.
No, they're just enough to kind of edge you a little bit ahead and the person a little bit behind, which is perfect.
Yeah.
So, because it's that tense, super close race, and you can just edge out a win, super tense, which leads to rivalry. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it was just too easy, like, oh, well, I just got that, blah, 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 I just won.
Right.
Then I wouldn't care. Yeah. But definitely a rivalry game.
It is.
Yeah. And that's Fabled Fruits.
It is. Thanks for watching.
Thanks a lot.
We'll see you in the next video.
Laters. I can't believe I won again.
Me either.
I won again.
I know.